This is the Blackout Podcast.
Hi, Ossamah.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm great, and you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me here.
No, it's a pleasure. I remember we met a while back when I had to write this profile on you, and then I met this super interesting guy. The first thing that got me was that you ran for president of SMU Student Union your first year. It's like, who's this person? Let's start with that though. So you came from what country did you move from?
So I came from Kuwait. So
Yeah.
I moved from Kuwait 5 years ago
Yeah.
here to become a dentist in a way. You know, I wanted to do biology in my first 4 years, and I kind of was forced to come here. You know, my family. I didn't really want to come here at the beginning. I wanted to go study in the Middle East. You know, next to my family, and I knew how hard it is to get into dentistry here, especially as an international student. But then I said, you know what, let's give it a try. So I came here in my first year doing biology, and then I called my dad and said, biology is not my thing, you know. That's I wanna go into commerce, you know, and that's where I moved into commerce, and that's where my journey started with the student association running in my first year.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah. So that first you actually came. You came second?
I came third, but I was able to get 300 votes in my first year as first-year student.
How was that first campaign though?
It was interesting, you know. I was just leaving the language center, and so I started in the language center from May till September. I started school in September, and then February came, election started, and I remember I had a nomination paper. I have to fill 150 names in order to run, just to be
What?
able to run. So you need 150 signature from students.
Oh, wow.
So I went around and I was like, how can I get this 150 signature? So I remember I went to the library to one of the tables, and the girl asked me, would you bring a subway on campus? And I said, oh, absolutely, I will work on it. And that's it. Since that time, I just go around and be like, don't you want subway on campus? And everyone like, give me your paper. I want to sign it for you. So I was able to get my 150 nomination in like 3 hours just telling people, don't you want subway on campus? And that's actually how my first year went.
Oh wow. Okay, so that first year happened. You came third, and then the next year.
So I came third, and that's where I realized, like, what am I doing? You know, I was sitting on the debate, you know, people ask me questions, and as I told you, I really learned English here in Canada. Like, so people ask me questions, and they wouldn't know what they mean, you know, and they will ask a question, and I will ask the person running against me, hey, person, what are they asking me about, you know? But I had that confidence in the debate. I was sitting, you know, straight and looking at people like, yeah, I'm confident. Even I will answer another question, you know? But I had that confidence. So when I didn't get it, I applied to be a vice president at that time, even though I knew I'm not gonna get it, because all the vice presidents at that time were like in their fourth year or fifth year, like they're all done, you know. And I'm this first year student, so I didn't get it. But I want to become more engaged and involved. So I went back home. I came back. I became a back leader for Welcome Week.
What was that?
It's like the ones who prepare Welcome Week. It's the back leaders for
okay.
orientation.
Yeah.
I joined the Commerce Society, Habitat for Humanity, Enactus, and SAGA, which is Student Acting for Global Awareness. So I said, you know, I had a vision in my mind. I want to get involved. I want to become one day the president of the Student Association, you know.
Yeah.
And many told me, you know, Ossamah, it's really hard, you know, you're Arab too. We don't remember we had an Arab president before, and, you know, like, it's the whole thing, and I want it. So in November, actually, 2015, the vice president had to leave, she resigned to go focus on her studies, and I said, you know what, that's my time, and I applied for it again, and I was kind of one of the few second year students to become a vice president in the beginning of their second year. So I became a vice president in November. February came again, and they ran again.
Yeah.
So I ran. That was a big election. We had around 5 people running, actually. In the past, we used to have 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. We had around 5 people, and at that time, I said, you know what, I'm the vice president of student affairs. I work with all the societies. I have my connection, and they ran, you know. And I didn't get it. I lost. And I lost from my good friend with 6 votes, you know.
What?
He got 500.
Man.
He got 591 votes. I got 585. And the third got like 300 and stuff. So it was six
Super
votes,
close,
and
yeah.
I was pretty involved with the student association. And a friend of mine, who is a great friend of mine, he's with the Bangladeshi Society, and he got it. And everyone thought, Osama is now the saddest person ever. So I woke up on my Facebook the next morning in my bed and doing like this, like 6 votes, and they posted this picture on Facebook, and people went crazy. They're like this is just because you need to understand when it comes to election,
Yeah.
you really never lose. Like that was in my mindset. What did I lose? What did I lose? Some votes of people, but I can still get back. So I applied to be a vice president again, and I had the experience, especially that I started in November.
With the vice president thing, is there an election or you are just appointed? How does that work?
So you get interviewed. So there's a hiring committee by the president and our board of directors, and you get hired. So, and then that's it. I continued and I got more involved. So I joined Model United Nation. I went to New York. I went with Habitat again to Florida to build houses. So every reading week I go to Habitat. So this is my third time, and actually going soon in 10 days to to Texas.
wow!
Yeah. You say, oh wow, but you should try it. It's a bus ride, so it's a 50 hours bus ride. We go on bus, we don't fly there.
So like, but I mean, you how many hours you drive? Like 12 hours and then stop.
We don't stop. It's non-stop.
Wait, what?
So we just continue. So there's 2 bus drivers. One go to sleep, and the other just continue.
What?
It never stop. So
no breaks.
no, we stop for breaks. So every 2-3 hours we stop for breaks.
Gotcha,
When they want to fill the bus with gas, we stop and stuff like. We try to stop in like New York or stuff for 4 hours on our way, but it's actually just going. So the maximum is 4 hours stop, and that's it. You're going.
That's a long one.
Yeah, so that's where I got involved more, and then I ran in the election again.
Yeah.
My third time, and I said, that's it. I'm giving it all I can. And at that time, Trump became president. Obama was leaving, and that's where I came up with my new slogan. If you really miss Obama, it's the right time to vote Ossamah, and that's. And that slogan just went all over campus. If you really miss Obama, it's the right time to vote Ossamah. And on T-shirts, on posters around campus, and it's fun. You need to understand who's your audience, who are students. They wanna have this fun charisma in a way, and that's where actually I ran the election and ran a good campaign, and I won it. And then it came to my last year, and I was.
Wait, first though, let's go. How many votes did you win that one by? Do you remember?
In the last election, I think. It's rounds, so I think I got 700 in the first round. I think I end up in the last round around 1,200 votes when all calculated. So we got around 1,200 votes. So it was pretty interesting.
So with the campaign, do you get a team or just you doing everything?
It's you. So you and your campaign manager. So you don't run with a team, and that's the difference. So the board of directors run. So there's board and there's a president. So you run as yours on your own. You have your campaign manager, who was my good friend Andre from the Caribbean Society, and he was the president of the Commerce Society, and he was my campaign manager actually in my second year, and stayed with me to the third year, and said, Osama, I'm graduating, but we got this, we're gonna make it. So now we run a great campaign, and that's where we continued. And even when I became president, I tried my best to keep my involvement. So I stayed with Habitat, I stayed with Enactus. I just wanted to show them I wasn't really getting involved just to win president.
I gotcha.
That's not my personality. I wanna stay with the students. I wanna see their needs and their ask, and that's where I became president. And with my 2 years experience on the student association made me have a further insight, I would say, and that's where we got things done. We got a lot of things done for the students.
So did you ever bring Subway?
Not yet. Not yet. But it's in the works. So it's on the work because.
What's the process of bringing a restaurant? Because I know there's a Tim's on campus, right?
Yeah. So we work with Armark. So Armark have the whole campus as exclusive. So it's all food services are run by Armark, and you can't really bring anything till. The new food provider or Armark want to renew their contract, where you ask for Subway, or if Armark decided to bring Subway whenever. So actually we are now up for RFP in the next year, and we are hoping, if it was Armark or whoever is coming, to bring us Subway. So that's one of our recommendations we submitted to the university, that we need Subway in a way, and actually they're taking a good way that they might bring it. So it's something I've been talking about for 4 years. Yeah. So it might not be there when I'm here, but at least
it's coming.
It's there.
Okay. Yeah. So and then what year was the first year you won as president?
Last year, so in 2017, and then it came to 2018, and that's where I was between two decisions. I'm graduating anyways. So should I graduate and that's it, or should I do it again? When you believe you can make a change, and it might not be the best thing for your future, because that's it. You did the 4 years, great 4 years. You became president once, 2 vice president. You have all this experience in 4 years, and your degree in 4 years. If you want to do it 1 year, you stretch it a bit, So it might not be the best thing for your own resume, or for only like you're writing on your resume, I did another year, but or for your experience in general. But if you believe, I believed at that time that I really can make a difference. I really can work on a project that I wanted to work. So we work on a 5th floor project. We made a new open space. It cost us around $500,000. We worked, us and the university, on it. And that project was just on the go. I said, you know what? I'm doing it again. And this is where I was around, everyone I meet and said, like, oh, so Sam, what are you looking to work after graduation? Like, let me know. And, and this LinkedIn thing and all this networking events, and let me know when you graduate and stuff like that. And in my mind, I was like, you know what? I want to do it one more time.
Okay.
And that's where I ran one more time with one poster on campus. I just printed one poster. So unusual, we used to print 100, 150, and it said, I want to print one poster.
Yeah.
And
where did you put it?
I put it like right in our Loyola building. Like there was a big wall and it's a big poster. Like,
okay.
And I said, it's one poster. If students believe that I was the right president for them and I made the difference in their life, they will vote for me. If not, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah.
And that's where I printed that one poster. And my slogan was, if Obama did 2 terms, so should Ossamah. So
Are you the one that comes up with this slogan? So is it your campaign manager?
It's actually like we sit and like the ideas just come. So I said, you know what? And we came up with this slogan of Obama did 2 terms, so should Ossamah. And it just went by, and we really won by a big margin again in the last time. And I was graduating in May, but I pushed it a bit till July. So my dad comes to my graduation in September. So I graduated in July. But in order to be present, you have to be a student. So I got my work visa, so I gave away my study permit and I got my work permit, and that's where made me take only one course. It gave me eligible to take one course.
Is that when you start doing French?
Yes, that's when I started. So I was able to do my French class, because in your study permit you have to do 3 classes at least, where in your work permit you can do at least 1 class. So you have to do at least one so you to be present. So I said, you know what, I'll do that, and I will focus on myself more, because busy with 4 classes every semester, and focusing on myself made me open my own business on the Harbour and launch a business.
We'll get to that. But I want to go back a bit. So that first year, what are some of the things you achieved?
And as president, so one of the things we worked on was the fall break for our students. Our students didn't have a fall break in November. Most universities around the country had the fall break. We only had one in winter. And ours used to be like Thursday, Friday, and then the Monday of Remembrance Day, where we went to the Senate and we provided documents and the research we did and surveys from our students. And we said, how can we make it work? And, at the beginning, we got a pushback, like, let's take it to another committee and stuff. We took it back. But I would say in 3 Senate meetings, we were able to get approved. Other student associations really fight to get it. But we have a really great relation with our university and the Senate and stuff. So the university agreed on making it a pilot project. They said, you know what? Why don't we approve it as a pilot project, see how it goes? And because you always look at December and the days. And we said, okay, so this year, actually, last year, in 2018, was the first fall break ever at Saint Mary's, and we were able actually by the end of the year to approve it to become kind of forever. So we added the fall break to the academic criteria. So any academic calendar need to be created, it's going to have fall break. So now it's not a pilot project anymore. So this was one of the things. In the summer we had our Gorsbrook lunch, which our bar and food service on campus. So
I hear that bar makes a lot of money.
Not really, but and one of the things I want to do is have a patio outside. So we were able to build a patio actually. It was a work done between us and the university, and we built a nice patio where in the summer you can have tables outside and you can sit and even watch our football team playing and other teams. And it was just a nice atmosphere that where there's a tree in the middle and a nice patio for our students. So that was one of the things too.
And your team did well in the football season, right?
Yes, they went to all the way to Lonely Ball to the final.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things. We worked a lot on the academic side of stuff, so on all the regulation and the Senate regulation, and how can we make sure that our students have a voice. So we work a lot with the university on that. So we continue to try our best to work. We had our trivia nights at the Gorsbrook in the past. We used to have like 50 to 70 people and stuff like that coming to our trivia nights every every Wednesday night, where this year and the last year we tried to focus more on social media and new trivia host and all this stuff, and we started having around 200 people on trivia night.
Whoa.
Full capacity on every trivia night, so Friends, Harry Potter, all this stuff, so which is a great thing.
Is
for
that
our
open
students.
only for the students, or
All students?
Oh, okay.
It's all students, and you can even bring your friends from outside if you want to.
Okay.
But it's a great programming on campus, so we try to create more programming on campus. We actually held our first Indigenous Gala on campus.
Oh, when was that?
That was last year in 2018.
Okay.
I
How
remember.
did that go?
Great. So I remember the Indigenous student societies, they were at the Society Expo, and they went to them and they were like, Ossamah, we need to do a small, event, like, showing our culture, invite 20 to 40 to 50. I said, why don't you do it a big one? They said, a big one might be a big logistics and stuff. I said, but most of our societies does this stuff. Like, why don't you do it as a gala? And they said, Ossamah, do you have your business card on you? I said, yeah. He said, sign on your business card that you're going to support us and give it to us. I said, absolutely. Here you go. And we tried to support them with funding and with the logistic and stuff. And we had our first ever annual Indigenous Gala. And we called it Annual Indigenous Gala because we want to see it every year start going. And I was really proud to see the work done by our Indigenous student societies and making sure that we're really providing them with everything they need.
Wow.
And the university hired our first Indigenous advisor to on campus, who is a great person, Raymond, who was able to support our Indigenous students and with all the potluck and other events on campus from Welcome Week throughout the year. So it's great that we were able to do this stuff.
Yeah, no, that's just great. I mean, I didn't even know this. It's always great when you start, and most events start with acknowledging that it's unseated and stuff. But it's great that you are going beyond that and actually having
celebrating the culture, celebrating the history.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
because the culture is super rich. And
absolutely.
Last time I was talking to an Indigenous person, and he told me things I didn't know. So it's every time I meet an Indigenous person, it's almost an opportunity to learn something new. So it's great that you're making it annual.
Absolutely. And this is the thing, even for us, St. Mary's with more than 30% international students, we really came from culture. We really know nothing about Indigenous people. It's sad, we came and we didn't know, we watch movies, but we didn't really understand what's the culture is. We didn't really understand what's Aboriginal mean, where we came here, we knew our classmates are Indigenous, our friends are Indigenous, and that's where you want to learn from the culture. You hear the president of the university saying every time, the welcome and the remarks, where Mi'kmaq, but that's where you need to understand what's that. You need to understand what he means, and that's where we try to educate our students more about it and be able to support them more and more.
So, you become president. When you become president, what's like? You get elected, say Friday night. What happens on Monday?
So nothing on Monday. That's it. You're the president, but you start in May 1st.
Okay.
So all presidents' election is done in early March. You start in May 1st. Your role.
What happens between March and May?
That's it. You continue your studies, and there's the transition period. So there's the transition with the old president.
Okay, so lots of meetings with the predecessor.
And they take you to some meetings, and that's where you put the application out to hire your vice president. Because your vice president.
How many vice presidents do you have?
3.
Okay.
So I have 3 vice presidents and 2 officers. So I have an equity officer, wellness officer, and 3 vice presidents. 1 vice president advancement who work with me with the provincial and federal government on the advocacy side. I have vice president student affairs. She works in all the societies and event on campus, and vice president academic who sits with me on the Senate and focus on the academic side and stuff. And they are the first line, like they are my main support system. As a president, you need to understand everything, and this is where you realize sometimes it's just too much. In your mind, you need to get to know everything is going on. You sit on 30 plus committees on campus, from board of governors to Senate, to alumni council, to executive board of governors, to regulation, to all these committees. And plus you have your own organization to look after. But these executive team are the ones who really support me. They're the one who let me know what's going on here and what's going on here and how can we take the right decision, because it's a team thing. You by yourself, you are the president, but that really doesn't work. It's always the team with us and the course book, who runs the course book and that runs our service, because we offer a lot of services. We are a $4.2 million organization, so we are a big.
So there's you, your vice president. Do you have, or who are the other members of the executive team?
So we have a support staff, which is our full-time staff. So we have a full-time general manager, full-time operation manager, and administrative assistant.
Are they also students?
No, they're
okay.
full-time. So they've been there for a while.
So which of them handles your calendar? Because it must be crazy.
So we have our administrative assistant who supports me a lot on my calendar. I'll be like, hey, and she will send me, Ossamah, don't forget you have this meeting. Ossamah, don't forget. And so it's all of she is the one who really supports me on everything, because you need to remember, at the end of the day we are students. You know?
I know.
And I always tell myself, like, for the next 10 years, even if I open business, if I would never have the amount of work or the stress I have right now, because as I mentioned, right now you go in the morning to work and everything is on you. So no matter what happens wrong in the university, you are on the first line, and we deal with a lot of stuff. So we were working hard with the university and our faculty union, because there was a strike vote, and we as student association, we stand neutral in the middle. So we don't support any party, but we make sure that there is a fair agreement between both. And this is being able to stand alone is kind of support us in communicating with both presidents and work with both parties, and other than just taking side with one party, and we'll know the other party will say, okay, we'll do it this way, or what I mean. So that continued our strong relation with our faculty union as SUMUSA and with our university. But all this stuff comes on, So I was in December away in vacation, actually home. But most of the time, all I'm working on is trying to put this statement out, try to update the students, try to send this email for the 7,000 students, which is great, But
I like one picture you put on Instagram. It was like a war room, actually. It's just you and these people. It's like first day, something.
Yeah,
that was a great photo.
It is. and that's the thing with being president. It's an experience. It's a life experience, I would say. Like sitting on the board of governors with all these business people and academic people sitting on the Senate. It's an on-hand experience, which is at the same time tough on your side. When I apply for jobs now, if I get a job, I might get it because of my network, of my connection, not because of my resume. Because if you read my resume, you will see SUMUSA president, this, but people outside doesn't really know what the president do. You know what I mean? When you apply to big companies, you're like, wow, this is a student leader job. That's cool. What did you do a co-op? They don't really understand what's the job. If I go to an interview, I might be able to kill it in a way. Be like, this is what I did. But other than that, like, oh, that's a student leadership. But what outside student leadership? Oh, nothing. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Which is tough. Where if you get that interview and you'll apply to a lot, and this is the expectation. Everyone be like, oh, Ossamah's leaving. What's next? What he's doing. You know what I mean? And that's where I start thinking, do I want to do my own job? Do I want to apply for jobs and all this? But
so does it? You know how when say Obama was leaving, and he put his kind of ran a campaign for Hillary. There's something similar. No, you can't.
I can't.
To say I support that person.
At all. So I have actually one of my vice presidents, one of our vice presidents running. And I have another people from our other departments running too. And for me, I'm always there just as a reference to support them all. I really can't take sides, and I wouldn't like to take sides. I would love to leave as Ossamah, who was with everyone. Ossamah, who was there for all the students, and not Ossamah, who's ended up leaving, supporting someone, and if them didn't win or lose. It's not my place really to take sides. It's not the president's job. You pave the road for everyone, and they are who deserve the votes. The students will vote them in.
Yeah. Has your name ever been an issue?
And that's where I get asked a lot, did your name, and especially my parents when they first sent me here, I remember my mom went to me like, are we really sending our son with the name of Ossamah to Canada? And people might, but you realize in Canada people would never ever try to even make fun of my name, I would never hear anyone really, other than my Arab friends or close friends. Like I remember someone from the Middle East coming to me and said, Ossamah, can I tell you something about your name? I said, yeah, you're my friend. He said, I think you are the second most famous Ossamah. And I didn't know at that time what to tell him. Like, should I tell him thank you? Should I tell him like, please don't ask me, tell me about my, like, I was just like, he said, you're the second most famous Ossamah. No, I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? That's the thing. But Canadians respect us here, and they never made me feel that my name is something, or I never in my 5 years. You know, I was never even whenever someone, like, I can see the impression in people's face when they ask me what's your name. Ossamah, you know, it came to my second year. I used to let them know that my name is Sam, you know, because even when I order something and it's like they say, "What's your the name, please?" I said Ossam. Say, "Sorry, what's it?" Ossam. I'm like, "Oh, it's Sam," you know, and that's where I order cabs. I always tell them, "Oh, it's Sam," and stuff like that. But my name never affected me, and that's where even when I used to go to the U.S., you know, we travel every year and we have to stop by the border, and they were like, "Oh, Ossam is getting in trouble," you know, but it wasn't. It never affected me, and which is I'm grateful for, you know. You always have in mind that, oh, your name might really make you struggle or might make you not go to the other step. And that's where when I ran for president and stuff like that, I had even family members saying, you know, like, your name is Ossamah and you're a Muslim and stuff like that. You might not, and you're in Canada, you know. If you work for something, you can make it no matter what's your name or religion or background in a way.
Yeah, you know, you're right. That's one thing I found about Canada. It's pretty much a land of opportunities if you are willing, you know, and open to taking the opportunities that exist there. So then, when you say you travel every year, Reading Week to
Habitat,
exactly.
So to build houses.
What do you do?
So what we do is we take around 35 to 40 students.
Are they members of the society?
A member of the society.
Oh, okay.
They sign up in September, and our.
How do you select the people that go?
Everyone is open to go.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's welcome to go. They start doing fundraising in September, so they start doing bake sale and different events in order to fundraise to our event, because there's a cost associated with it. So there's around $800 each person should pay.
Okay.
But with all the fundraising and the funding, it end up being like maybe $300. You end up paying $300 for the full 10 days with everything.
Wow.
So yeah, it's part of want to do something for the community, you know. Last year we built houses for veterans in the US in a village, and you can understand 35 to 40 students in 4 houses. Like, we had 7 students doing flooring, 5 on the roof, and they teach you everything there.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yes, no.
What do you have to know how to do this before you
nothing,
get on
zero experience. They teach where our members do some building here in Nova Scotia. So we go not in winter, absolutely. And, on October, November, we go help Habitat Nova Scotia in order to build houses with them, and that's you get a bit of the experience. But then when we go in February, that's where you learn it a lot.
So you came from Kuwait. In Kuwait, did they also build house? Did they build house with brick or with wood?
Brick. Oh,
yeah.
That we don't have wood at all. When we came here, we're like, wow, this is weird, you know?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Even the apartments, you know, like when you, like your roommate, you know, on the wall, like that's weird. Yeah.
I couldn't wrap my mind around that.
It's full of bricks and heavy bricks, you know, like here you see your balcony, this amount, and you'll be like, this is gonna fall one day. Like, there is no way this balcony, if I got my 4 friends and we sat on it.
Yeah, but then I figured they've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years, so they've mastered it and they understand what works where.
Yeah.
And maybe it's right for the weather or the climate here, so I wasn't just sure. But I was like,
and sometimes I want to really do the research. I don't understand even the weather side of it, you know, because it's wooden. Is it? Yeah.
What I learned the other day was that so you know that Tyvek thing is part of what they use for insulation, but also when they build walls, they leave a gap and then they put insulation inside. It's like,
how does this work?
Use a brick.
No, it's interesting.
So and then your first year you achieved that. So how's this second year been so far?
The second year been great, and the second year was mostly on the big project we did, which was our 5th floor. We built a new space, fully new space for students.
In that building I met you?
Yes, on the back offices. So the back office used to be just normal offices, really closed area. No students comes up, and we said, you know what, let's change that. So we changed that. We built some society offices full of glass.
how long was the construction?
It took like around 5 months. So it took from May till October.
And you said your organization, it's like 4.2 million. How's that fund raised?
So I'll tell you. So our organization biggest things that we run is our health plan. So we run the health plan on campus for our domestic and international students. We run the UBEST. So the UBEST agreement with the municipal is through us. So all students have their UBEST, and we have
Is that for the bus?
Yes.
So I read yesterday actually that the bus is going up by 25 cents.
Yeah.
How does that affect that pass? Is it going to factor in?
For us, it's just increased by inflation every year. So
okay,
one point something. So it's $2 for the whole back, because you pay around $150 or something like that, and you have it for the full from September till April. In the past, in the summer, there was no UPass where we were with the government and we spoke. And 2 years ago, we started having a summer UPass. So you pay $70 for the 4 month if you are taking 2 courses. So you have to be in 2 courses and you can get it. Where in the past you used to pay for 1 month $70 if you need to get the card. So we're able to do that, and now actually we just extended our agreement for another 2 years with the UBEST to make sure that for the next 2 years
everything
is the same. Everything is doesn't really not have much of increase, because if there's a big increase, this need to go back to the students. You need to go back to the students. And the UBEST is one of the challenges we face, because you need to have a UBEST. No matter, even if you have a car, you have a parking lot, every student must have a UBEST.
Why?
And the reason why is when Transit wanted to do this agreement with all universities to see the value of it, because you pay $150 for 8 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and use the ferry and the bus and everything. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
With your UBEST.
All routes.
All routes.
Okay.
All routes. So to make it valuable, it need to be all students.
What is the process if you lose it?
If we lose the...
If like I'm a student and I lose my
you
pass.
can just go and get another sticker.
Because it's attached to your student number,
so there's a small fees and you just get it back on your ID. But that's the thing. So when they brought all universities together, they all agreed that it's for all students. It's same as health. Healthcare, everyone pay taxes, everyone gets that. It's the same because if you have students opting out, you will have only 1,000 students on it, and it just doesn't build the value. They will have to. It will have to be 400 per student. No, they made 150 for all the students, which
it makes sense.
Which
it
is
makes
absolutely.
A lot of sense. It's kind of one of those things where people. We can go to the hospital and not pay $1 because many people don't get sick.
Absolutely, on the other side. So it's the same part. And then we run the health plan for our international student and our domestic. So health plan from everything they want and to dental and everything else.
Do you guys get tax break, like the union itself, on whatever you spend on?
I believe so, because we are non-for-profit. So we are non-for-profit. So there is some work that goes toward the tax brackets and stuff. Right. And then we get our student fees, which is around 150 for the student association every month. So 7,500 students paying 150, so it's around $900,000. I can't remember. I don't think it's SME. I think it was that. But what happens? How do you handle when there's cost increase in student fees? So that's the thing. Whenever we want to increase any cost. So you mean the tuition fees on the side? And that's where we work with both the provincial government and the universities on that about the increased student fees, and it's a tough call, because when you get to understand really universities, you understand really universities are not a business. At the same time, you feel it's a business. There's no really stakeholder who gets the money at the end of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't get that till later, until you get engaged. You realize that universities all they are trying is to break even, like to balance the budget and being able to provide all the services in a way. And this is tough, because we look at Alberta government there pays 80% of the operation for universities. Where you come to Nova Scotia, government pay around 27 to 30%. So the other 70% must come from the students.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And this is where we sit with the university. We tell them if there's a 3% increase, of course we don't want that. We come with our recommendation. Sometimes we fight for our recommendation, this one. But sometimes we try to look at the value. are they providing us back the value of this 3%? So if we say we want to have a 3%, are you renewing one of our new places? Are you building something new for our students? Are you getting them something new? Are you hiring an indigenous advisor? Are you making sure that we have an elder on campus? Are you making sure that our counseling center is working well? Like, we look at all the services and we see, is it really valuable in a way? And that's where we come in. The tough part is you need the province to support more, because as much as the province not supporting, that's where you don't get. So I think in the next 5 years, we will have a limit, a specific limit. So universities can't increase more than that. It's going to be, I would say, around 3% maybe, and universities around, but that's only on domestic students. And that's where it comes to international students. But I believe universities are in a way right now that even international students, they can't really increase it that much on them, because if they increase it, that's it. They're playing in a really big competition here, especially in the maritime, because you have Dal down the road, Saint Mary's, you have Halifax, Acadia, and students will start thinking about their price tag, the price tag and the options. So I think for the upcoming years, universities won't increase tuition fees more than 3%. But you need to understand 3% on international students.
It's a lot of money.
Is more than 3% domestic.
And talking of international students, when we met, I remember you were talking about that there's an exchange project to do with a Chinese university.
Yes.
So
it's a 2+2 program. It's usually in finance. So the students will do 2 years kind of at Saint Mary's and 2 years in the university in China, and we will send our professors actually to China for a semester to teach these courses and come back. So our professor will go, and then the end of the program, the students will get 2 certificates, one from St. Mary's and the others from Beijing University in Zhuhai, China. So it's a great program, 2+2 with China. It's really give that experience.
When they're in China, do they learn Chinese or Mandarin or?
Yeah, but it's in English too. Like, the whole program is in English, and that's the benefit. But I think Canada needs to play a bigger role. We get a lot of international and many other countries in Canada, but we don't really send that much of students out there. So I think this is something the federal government will be focusing on, moving on, in how can we provide our Canadian student that on broad experience.
I was on I think Instagram the other day, and I saw a page where this business actually helps Canadians that want to study outside.
Because you need that. We get a lot, but we send 2 Canadians, 3, for our domestic. You see, many of our international students are getting involved in this study abroad, and they go to Mexico to do a semester there, and they go to Italy, to France. We have programs all over.
That's great. I remember there was a few months last year sometime, there was the issue with Saudi Arabia just taking their students. What was how did you guys handle that?
So we had around 120 students who had to leave us because of everything happened of that, and actually now we got them back. So we didn't get so they had to leave back in the summer before August. I believe that was the deadline, or at the end of August, because everything happened in politics between Saudi Arabia and Canada.
I remember. Is that the government pays their fees, or?
So the government they're the main sponsor for our Saudi students, so they bear their fees, their housing, everything. So they come on a scholarship. So it's called.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
I was wondering how they could just be like.
So it's a government scholarship that they send all the students to start from the language center all the way to finish their degree, and they pay to the rent. They give them a ticket every 9 months to Saudi Arabia.
Oh wow.
They give them tutoring, dental, health plan, all this stuff. So it's a full. So when the government asks you to leave, you have to leave, because they're in a way. But we were glad to see them back this year. So every student who have a year left only. Sorry. So every student who have 1 year left only, they were able to come back. So they had, and we made it really easy for them. Just come back. You don't need to reapply. We have everything. So they came back. So
was that something your union did?
Not really. So when they were come back, our association, we did is we tried to. So you know how you have a prerequisite for your course in the winter. So and that prerequisite in September, but they missed that September to December semester. They came back now in January. So our association tried to help them with their academics. So we tried to help them in all the kind of override for classes, and if the prerequisite isn't offered, can we offer them the class and make the prerequisite in the summer they can take it. So we try to get them back in the class, in the class, and bring them back on track in a way, because it's not fair. They didn't really maybe they want or they didn't want to leave, but it's something outside their hand that they have to go back. So we made sure that the university is supporting them. We support them through our winter welcome week, making events and stuff to support them all. But yeah, we try to support them as much as we can with their academics and see how it goes. So we have, I would say, around 30 students or 30 plus back.
So you are a super busy person. Do you have any time for a relationship? I gotta ask.
No, not yet.
Because you do the school, and you always and you go to Ottawa a lot too.
Yeah, so we go.
What want to tell me about?
So we are part of the Canadian Alliance of Student Association. So the Canadian Alliance of Student Association have 22 schools around, and that's our federal advocacy. You need to understand, and it's tough when we as internationals try to understand the Canadian politics, because two governments, third municipal government. It's really, when you look at the federal government, they don't have a Minister of Education. So Canada itself doesn't have a Minister of Education, because education is handled by provincial government. So each provincial government have the Minister of Education. You know what I mean? It's really interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you look at that, and that's where you see, like, how does the government, and because it's handled by provincial, where the Canadian government have Minister of Finance and other ministers who support, Minister for Innovation, so who support the research and stuff. So the federal government supports in the Canada grants, so they have the Canada program, Canada grants. They have all the research they give to universities to continue their work, and they support with all, of course, the immigration and stuff. So what we do is we lobby on behalf of our students to the federal government. So we go every year to Ottawa. We meet with all the 22 universities, and we work on our recommendation. What do we want to bring to the government this year? We do surveys on our campus, and we come saying this is the 6 main recommendations. So
was that the body you won an award from? I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, what was that award called?
The Future Prime Minister Award. So
That was what I called the article.
So that's through them. So we come up with this recommendation, 6 recommendations, and we go to the government. Recommendations such as support international students in a way. Our international students, when they want to do their co-op or their internship, they have to apply for a different work visa, We tell the federal government they shouldn't do that. They should be able to do it under study permit, because that's part of their program. You know what I mean? It's why do you need to apply? And by applying, it might take 6 to 8 weeks, and they might miss that internship because they might know later on about it. We talk about research and how can we support research, how we can support more grants for our students and stuff like that. So it have a big impact, and that's federally. So we have to go to Ottawa for that. So we meet with all the ministers from. I think I met most of the ministers, and it's just great. And then we do it provincially with Student Nova Scotia. So we represent around 20,000 students, and that's where we go to the province and we meet with the Minister of Labor and Advanced Education, because Minister of Education has nothing to do with universities. It's Minister of Labor and Advanced Education. Advanced Education is after high school, and that's the interesting part. And actually now the Minister of Education in Nova Scotia, 10 years ago, he used to be the SEMUSA president. So his name is Jack Churchill, actually, and he did 2 years SEMUSA president like me. So we both did the 2 terms thing. But anyway, so this is where the provincial and the federal, and at the last day of the conference at the Canadian Alliance of Student Association, it's our AGM. So the 21 members, like universities, vote for students awards, and that's where I got voted for the future president.
Actually, now moving forward, this is the last year. What is your plan moving forward?
And that's where I keep my mind kind of up, and really, do I want to work for a company? I would love to join a team. I don't have this like, I don't want to work 9 to 4, 9 to 5. No, I would love to, but at the same time, I see myself having a lot of opportunities. I built myself really good connections in Nova Scotia and Halifax especially. I would say I would never leave Halifax, at least for the upcoming 5-7 years. I would love to stay here. I have a big Lebanese community here who is always supportive, and they always there for me. Lebanese community.
Are you Lebanese?
I'm Lebanese. So
you just leave.
I just live in Kuwait. My passport is Lebanese, so I'm fully Lebanese. I would go. Okay. So I have a big Lebanese community. So
do you ever do anything with the festival here?
Not really. No, but I make sure that I always go and stuff like that. I make sure I always go to all the Lebanese event, and we just had last November our first Lebanese Heritage Month here in Nova Scotia. So I think I want to stay here this summer. I want to focus on my business in the Harbour.
Let's talk about that one, because I remember when we first met, you were actually on the phone because you had to move money around.
Remember?
And I was like, okay, No, it's fine. You
Yeah.
have to rush. So, the Instagram page showed up. Like,
The Harbour
it was-
Watercraft.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this business just came out. You know, me and my roommate. So it's me and my roommate are me. He's my business partner too. So his name is Omar Shafi, and he did accounting at Saint Mary's. You know, he works at Enterprise. And me and him, you know, went to Vancouver once with Enactus. We had a conference there 2 years ago, and we loved the water there, like the activities they do. And we came here like, what can we do, you know? So we said, you know, let's open this business and see how it goes. And, you know, there was a lot of paper with the Port Authority and you need to register as a business and different papers you need to fill, and then get insurance, which is really tough because no one insures you in the maritime. They're really not used to the water life sport in a way. So you have to go all the way in Vancouver. Is our insurance in Vancouver? Wow. And then finding the space. Is it on the waterfront? Is it on Dartmouth? And that's where we ended up in Lebanon. Finishing everything, and we said, you know, we need to launch it on July 1st. Why? Because it's Canada Day. So every year on Canada Day, we celebrate with Canada Day our anniversary in a way. And it worked actually. So June 29th, we made our launch in a way, so we got people for free, and we just posted that, it's a free Sea-Doo rides, and we thought like 20 people would show up, and we had like
It was crazy.
89 people, and
was
we
crazy.
never stopped since 11 a.m. till, and people loved it. And we know this might not be our future customer, they just came, but it just the word was out there. And then we started in July. And we start learning about it, you know, it's jet ski. There's something called Drive Chef and all this stuff about the maintenance and stuff we didn't really know before. And that's it. August came, the long weekend, and we kept running. So we have weekends. We got 20 calls, and we are fully booked. We can't take any more bookings, you know. And I would say 90% of our customers are first-time riders, so they've never been on a Sea-Doo before, first time ever. So we take them through a 20 minutes all safety checklist, how to drive, all this stuff, and they just go and knock on the wood. We never really had any injuries or anything through a whole summer, or we never even called our insurance. So
That is great.
It's great, and just shows the liability we are handling and making sure that customer safety is before. So we're getting more Sea-Doos this year on the Harbour.
So I remember you were trying to walk to actually be on the waterfront. How is that going?
It's always on the work. It's so we're still in touch with the waterfront
So it's
to
still
make
on the
it there.
download now.
It's on our radar. We want to make sure that we get, even if we want to just get the tours to come out from the waterfront, because you know we have these cruise ships, and it's all part of the tourism industry. You know what I mean? It's all about the support.
Yeah.
And when we first started, actually, our main goal was the cruise ships. We said, if we get only 10 people from this 8,000 two cruise ships arriving. But then when we did the research, the average age on our cruise ship is 65 years old. The one that arrives to Halifax. So that might be not the best thing. So that's where we're looking at this year, staying in Sea-Doos, and maybe next year getting in the boat industry and getting boat tours and stuff. So it's a great thing. It's only a summer thing, but it's really a great thing to do and to have.
Yeah, I mean, it's always great looking forward to summer. So, and then I'm going to end with this. You handle a lot, and you're responsible for a lot of people. And you're so young, actually. What advice would you give to someone, the next president, for instance?
My biggest advice is you need to be around people. You need to talk to people. People really don't care much as what you promised them to do, as much as who you are, and they want to see it in you. They want to see it in you that yes, you will work for them, you will support them when they need you. It's not always about, this is what I'm gonna do for you, and this is because many people say they want to do this stuff and they might haven't not because they don't want to, but because the timeline and all this stuff. But people want someone who will stay around them. People will be with them, support them in everything. If it was on campus or off campus, being able to reach out and say, I will be your reference for this job. I will support you here. So people need, if you want to work in this kind of jobs and take it, you need to know that it's not really a job as much as a student leader, as long as making a difference. You want to make a difference in people's life. When Ossamah want to leave, I want to look 5 years back and be like, wow, we made this work. Me and the team made this work. You don't want to leave and be like, that's it. Like I did my 2 years as president and I was once a president. You want to look back. You want 10 years from now people to say, wow, we had a good president 10 years ago. Even when I run for government or I run for the municipal, I have in mind I want to run, of course, in the future. But you want to look back and say, yes, we made this work. We made a difference in these students' life. These students wouldn't have had this break, or these students wouldn't have had this service on campus if we didn't really work as a team to make it work. work. So this is one of the things. And to believe and be grateful. I always say that because, I came all the way from the other side of the world, 24 hours away by plane even. But grateful for where I am. I see many students wishing just to go to universities and wishing to do it in their own countries, and they can't. And we're grateful that our parents were able to send us here. I always remember that. I never take it for granted that, I always be grateful that, look, my dad was able to work hard really and be able to provide me what many people would wish for, so being grateful keeps you down, makes you make sure that you are there between everyone and you are one of everyone, and not because being president sometimes might build an ego on you, because you are the president, everyone sees you on campus, Mr. President, you sit on all these committees, and but you shouldn't have this ego, because this ego might kill you one day, what I mean? In a way that in the way you work and in the way you work, because it's all about a team. You work as a team, really. One person by himself can really do anything, I would say. So it's being able to build a strong team, make sure that they are there for the students in their events, in their committees, even in their regulations when they are in the tough times, or being always there for our students. So this will be my advice, I would say. And keep dreaming. I always call Halifax and Nova Scotia the place where you can dream. You can be whatever you want. There is no limit. I think the sky is the limit in a way, so there is no limit. Keep dreaming and keep achieving, and give time to yourself. I would say in my first year president, I really couldn't really focus on me as Ossamah. Really, even if it was going to the gym or doing anything like me, I was giving 100% to the job. And my goal was in my second term to really try to give time for myself in a way, which I couldn't till now, but I still have 3 months in my term. But really take care of yourself, of your family, because you get busy, and you get busy away from your friends. You get invited to all these events, and people are like, wow, look at Ossamah going to all. But inside me, I'm like, I really don't want to go to this event. All my mind, I want to go rest, relax, focus on something else. But you have to show face everywhere. You have to be everywhere. So you finish work, you go to work at 9 a.m. till 5. You go to event from 5:30 to 8, and it might be nice event and stuff. But sometimes you're like, I need to take a step back in a way. So that's, people need to take care of themselves, because if you really don't take care of yourself, it's really tough to take care of others. In a way, I believe. So that would be my main advices, I would say.
Wow. Thanks. I like how you always say we, you never say I.
Yeah, because it's we, it's our team. It's not my team. It's ours. It's we. But and that's the thing. That's how life works. In everything, even in business. Even in business, you realize that your employees are really who are everything other than you. You might start this successful business, but if without them you wouldn't be anything. So that's where the we comes and ours comes. And actually I learned it here like 2 years ago when I started as a president, that it's all we, it's all ours. It's really not one person, because it's really tough to make a change as a one person. You can motivate people to make a change, but it's now we all together making that change. So yeah.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, and I've been following your podcast for a while, so it's great, and I wish you all the luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is the Blackout Podcast. Thanks for listening.